I got in the mood to replay Jurassic Park Trespasser, and so I did that today. And I'd watched a couple review videos, bullshit analyses, right? And this one asshole, he had a fucking review that was like 6 fucking hours long. And it's your usual thing when they say analysis. What they mean is they read Wikipedia, right? And it's like, I have read all the pages he talked about. It's like he was just reading them to me. And, as usual, doesn't understand the game, has nothing interesting to say, blah, blah, blah. But that game was massively underrated. And, it's like Blood 2 or whatever other game. They just, there's got to be these games that it's just fashionable to, or like Daikatana, for example. It's just fashionable to hate them, right? And it never fails. It's like, it's always going to be like some of the best games ever. So, Trespasser came out in 1998, but I didn't first play it till like 2005. So I didn't really have a decent PC till '03, and I didn't have a gaming PC till '04. But it might have been, it was either between like 2005 or 2007, but I think more like 2005. But I'd heard about Trespasser, I'd wanted to play it. Um, and then when I played it, to put it in perspective, so by 2005, at the earliest, I had already played Half-Life 2, Doom 3, Far Cry, Call of Duty, whatever, games that were considered revolutionary or whatever. This is already like 7 years after the fact or whatever. And even then, well, by 2005, I'd also played Riddick and Fear and Condemned or whatever. I think Riddick came out in '05 on PC. Whatever the case is, I'd already played all these, groundbreaking, more recent games, and still, whenever I first tried Trespasser, all the way back, with Windows XP and all that bullshit, still, I was blown the fuck away by what I was seeing in that game. Like, even today when I replayed it, it really is like just breathtaking. Like, even now, I consider it impressive, and not even just for the time period, but even now, right? Like for an example, like Far Cry got a lot of accolades for its open environments or whatever, and it's like, nah, dude, it's nowhere close. It's not the same scale. Like, if you played Trespasser, you already know what I mean. But if you haven't, go play it and you'll see what I mean. It's like, dude, even Skyrim doesn't have mountains like that. It's like if Todd Howard said, "See that mountain? You can climb it," and it's like you could actually climb it, right? Like, it's kind of nuts. And everyone can talk shit about the physics, and it's like, well, dude, it was a game from 1998, right? And like, I don't even know if there were any other games with physics at that point, like to that degree. So, for an example, I'm pretty sure Codename 47 came out in 2000. Now, it had both ragdoll physics and cloth simulation, and then I believe also fluid simulation, or maybe that was in. Did they have anything like that? Either way, for ragdoll physics and cloth simulation, they used what's called Verlet integration. And as far as I'm aware, they used that all the way up to Blood Money. I don't know anything about the more recent games. I've never played them. But Verlet integration is pretty rudimentary. It works great for cloth or whatever, but that's why the ragdolls in Hitman games always looked, really odd. The way that they'll fold up on themselves, and like they're essentially, a piece of cloth, but with different little sections that are kind of vaguely the torso or something, or like body or whatever, right? There's no self intersection. There's no real joint angles. Um, so it's nowhere close to what Havoc is doing, but it's also really fast, and it was good enough. And just the fact that you had like flowing cloth and shit like that, it's like 2000. was nuts, right? I think it was 2000. The first Splinter Cell was '02, I'm pretty sure. But the shit was a brand new idea, pretty much. I mean, what else could there may have been? When did Thrasher Skate and Destroy come out on PlayStation 1? I had that game. I love that fucking game. Um, did it come out in '98 or was it '99? I mean, that was another revolutionary game. Like Skate owes its entire, fucking, lineage or whatever to Thrasher Skate and Destroy. It was like the first kind of sort of like pseudo realistic kind of skateboard sim type of thing, right? Where you gotta like actually push, you got a button to actually push to move on the skateboard and shit. But it was brand new technology, and they had a rudimentary system set up because I mean they couldn't afford anything else, right? So I see a lot of people bitch about the fact that she only has one arm in the game. Now, first of all, her tits, it's like, all right, whatever. Maybe it's because I'm homosexual, but I just tune it out. Like I just there, yeah, I see them there, but it's like who gives a fuck, right? But her only having one arm, they come up with a justification. Oh, she broke her arm or whatever. I don't need the justification, right? It's like it's amazing how it is. I can just mentally just pretend the other arm is there holding the gun or whatever. But it's kind of silly to see what everybody expects out of it because it was pretty notorious for running. Is like from what I read, the because I reread some stuff because I've been thinking about it, and one of the things I read said that their demonstration systems were like 400 megahertz Pentiums or whatever, and it was still running at like 20 FPS at best, right? Most people is more like 10 FPS, and when I ran it on XP, back in like '05 or whatever, even though it was 7 years after the fact, yeah, the frame rate wasn't that great. But when people start talking about a second arm, I was playing the game and that's what I thought. It's like, you want a second arm, but then it's like the question is, okay, well, do you want 10? It's like, do you want 20 FPS or 5, right? It's sort of like the flashlight thing with Doom 3, and they claimed John Carmack was making an excuse. No, he wasn't. It's because 20 years ago, that extra, light and shadow was again, they already bitched it was 30 FPS. Okay, would you rather it be 15? It doesn't matter so much now. The time, the frame times are almost zero, right? Hundreds of frames per second if it was uncapped, vanilla. I mean, you could use the source port, but you know, you get what I'm saying. I'm just even now it impresses the shit out of me. I mean, the game will piss me off because yeah, like the physics can be finicky. The fact that there's no friction can annoy the shit out of me, but I love what it was going for. It's like a lot of these games, Daikatana, Boiling Point, or Xenus or whatever you want to call it. A lot of different games. It's like, yeah, they got flaws. Blood 2 as well, right? They had flaws, limited development, this and that, publishers, blah blah. But I love the game because I see what they were trying to do, and it just hits the right spot, right? One of the things I will say about Trespasser is in my opinion, it has some of the realistic like shooting of any game I've ever played, even today. Like the only things that come close would be like maybe like Insurgency or Red Orchestra, because I started playing Red Orchestra when it was still an Unreal Tournament 2004 mod. Um, but it's more like Red Orchestra 2, where you have the translating iron sights, and if you go off to the side, then you can rotate. It's kind of more like that. Insurgency, the full game, not Sandstorm, but the second, so to speak, as in the full version, not the mod. There's modded servers for it that will have a similar kind of ADS. But even in those games, they just, I don't know, the guns in Trespasser, they just have this punch to them, and the way that they like flip, even like if you look at the AK, kind of all of them, but especially the AK, like the way that it like, you know, kicks upward, but also kind of off to the side, right? It just real subtle stuff that, I mean, if you've shot guns before, then you know you'll know what I mean. Like if you have experience with guns, a lot of first person shooters just become like underwhelming because it's like visually it doesn't look how it actually feels. But Trespasser is probably the best version that I've ever seen. And once you get the hang of the controls, it's actually not that difficult to aim. Now, something I've seen in that one pseudo analysis was he indicated something that is definitely true. I think a big flaw that hurts it for a lot of people is that they waste their time with the keys to rotate your wrist and the whole arm separate. You really don't need that. You need the key to like stick the arm out or whatever. Also, when you pick up a gun, she'll automatically kind of put it to the center. And from that point, once you have your sights lined up how you want, it'll kind of remember that. And then you can just kind of like move around, looking around mostly normally. And then also, if the sights get fucked up, you can just drop it on the ground and pick it back up. So once you get the hang of it, it's actually pretty intuitive, and it starts to feel really fluid to work with the game that way. At least the guy in that 6 hour one, at least he admitted that. But I don't know. There's something about Trespasser just appeals to me at a visceral level, like pretty much any other game, and I can't necessarily say exactly what it is. But I mean, it just, as far as the guns, it's like if somebody just modded in a second hand that didn't do anything, but it was like, it's like just there to hold, the fore end of the rifle or whatever. Now it's like the perfect milsim. Like it's kind of crazy to me because like the tactical milsim BS now, nowadays that, they check the magazine, they're doing press checks and all this other shit, and they're hyper detailed on the weapons. And yet whenever the shooting is actually happening, it just doesn't feel right. It just there's just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. But yet, you know, some, Jurassic Park tie-in game from, 30 years ago almost, like 28 years ago, where that probably wasn't even really the point. It was just incidental as a byproduct of the ARM physics stuff they were doing. Still has the best feeling like weapon handling I've ever seen in a game. Like what I had ideas for it, I don't know, I might teach myself programming at some point if possible. Because there's some shit in there that I would love to see in Trespasser that I would probably have to do it myself, but I just thought of ways to incorporate reloading that would also work within the whole ARM physics thing. Um, and I might go into that in the second video, but yeah, there is some downsides. It's definitely bullshit that you can't take guns across, level transitions or this or that. But I mean, for me, it's like I don't care that the final boss is like whatever, this or that. Most of the shit motherfuckers talk about with the game is really just nitpicking, if you ask me. But the physics can be kind of quirky, but I don't know. Once you get used to it, it's probably one of the best games ever, in my opinion. I truly love that fucking game. Games like that, I unironically enjoy Daikatana or Blood 2 or like whatever. I don't know. I guess I'm just, fucking, built different or whatever. But it'll still piss me off. One of the main things that'll piss me off, first of all, I'd love to have a fucking quick save button. Quick save, quick load. But, other than that, the main thing that'll piss me off is, once a raptor is chasing you, even if you're bunny hopping in the run mode, you cannot get away with it. Cannot get away from it. Because, like, I've done it before, like, I'll bunny hop for, like, 200 fucking meters, turn around, and it's literally right in my fucking face. The same fucking raptor, right? But yeah, it wouldn't take much to really make Trespasser shine. But yeah, I'm at 15 minutes on